A number of teenage mothers are seeking medical treatment for their malnourished children at Panyandoli Health Center 4 in Kiryandongo district. With most mothers barely out of their teens themselves, the burden has taken a toll on both mothers and their children. With his weight loss evident, brown hair and protruding belly, 3-year-old Emmanuel is small for his age. Emmanuel is a frequent visitor at the health facility. Despite her efforts, his 19-year-old mother Brenda struggles to provide adequate nutrition, the dilemma of many young mothers here who find themselves unsupported by the fathers of their children.
This is the third time this child is in the program. The child has always been on ward. We send back to the community, the child comes back.
I cook twice a day. In the morning I cook porridge, then in the evening I prepare food.
Brenda has another child who is 8 months. Health workers say it is the norm here for most mothers to stop breastfeeding once they get pregnant.
I am not breastfeeding. I feed my children posho and beans.
When the mother delivers one after another, there's no spacing. Obviously, the younger one always looks better than and healthier than what? The malnourished one. So they tend to neglect those malnourished children, medically, socially.
Despite efforts to educate these young mothers about malnutrition, they lack knowledge on feeding.
They may have the foods needed actually, but the knowledge of how to balance the food is still lacking in them. And the frequency of the feeding is still lacking. Like if you ask this mother, she told me she gives like twice or thrice in a day, at whereby they're supposed to feed like 5 times a day.
Every month, the facility registers 17 new cases of malnourished children, with the peaks coinciding with the planting seasons.
Because they do not have food in the house, so they tend to go into a season of hunger, and there is also a stretch or a dry stretch, a bit of a drought. At the end of the year, beginning of the year, December, January, we also have our numbers increasing because of that stretch of the dry season.
The prevalence of school dropouts among young mothers contributes to this problem. Dorcas Wataba, a nutrition officer working with Alliance Front for Development, says that more than 80% of the malnourished children are Ugandan, but there is also a good proportion of refugees who are struggling.
But our sub-county that we get mostly for nationals is Mutunda sub-county, but then also from Chichwa-Bujingo side, as you go to Karoma, we have as well many children coming from those locations. Among the refugees, yes, there is also an equally high number of malnourished children, and we attribute it a lot to the fact that, for instance, we recently did categorization where they are grouped into different categories of aid, and that has really affected them because now they are not receiving food from World Food Program, so their children do not have enough food to eat.
Ironically, to some extent, children suffer from malnutrition, not because there is lack of food, but because parents have failed to provide a balanced diet.
The issue of behavior change, influencing behavior change, especially among the lower income communities, the vulnerable communities, many of them will harvest the food and sell it. And when they sell it, you would think they would save it or use it to start a business, but a lot of it goes into alcohol and all these things.
Lack of proper sanitation also adds to the problem. Globally, in 2022, 149 million children under the age of 5 were estimated to be stunted, while 45 million were estimated to be wasted or too thin for their height. Nobat Atkunda, NTV News.